What is up, guys? This is Ramunap and we are here. We are looking at my deck that I've took to play at the main event of MTG Grand Prix Warsaw 2017. Because a lot of people asked me about this deck, a lot of people wanted me to show you this deck, so yeah, let's do it. Like, I've put all of my decks at tapped out. It's not a sponsor video whatsoever. I'm just using this site on my own with my friends, and we're sending each other decks. So yeah, I'm Ramunap there. If you want to follow my decks, sure, you can go there. I'm not posting my recent decks there because, you know, I'm playing those decks. So yeah, that's a deck that I've took to a Grand Prix Warsaw. I've ended up 5-4, so barely missed the day 2, which sucks. But this deck took everyone by, by surprise. They caught everyone by surprise. Everyone was like, "Oh, dude, how do I sideboard on this deck? What am I doing?" So yeah, so let's just go. It's in general, it's just a black-red and black-red deck. There are some cards that I've changed on the spot at GP, and I'm gonna talk about it, so don't worries. No worries about that. Especially lands. I've changed some lands on the spot before I gave my my deck list to the judges. So yeah, that's a black-red mid-range deck. I was testing it week before GP, and it was good against Timur. It was good against control decks. Ramunap Red was devastated with this deck. So yeah, so let's just go. Let's run through it. Like, main build is more on the control side of things, so you'll see more control-ish cards. Then on the sideboard, you can easily go to full aggro on it, kind of like Ramunap Red. But let's see. I'll show you my creatures, everything I have, and then I'll run you through what I've changed after GP. So it's like 4 days after GP right now, 3 days actually. So yeah, I've changed a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things about this deck, and I'm gonna tell you about it, everything. And if you want to see my newest decks, like, you can go here, Ramunap at tapped out. It's not a sponsored video. So here we go. We've got 19 creatures. I'm playing one Dream Stealer. Why one? Just because I only own one. That's like main reason. Plus, I needed a card in a 3 mana slot, and this card is great. Menace, 3 mana, and you can discard cards from your opponent's hand. Plus, Eternalize when they kill it. Oh man, it's 4/4. That's just a great card with this deck, especially with the Menace. In early games, like turn 3, 4, man, this really works. Okay, so then we got 4 Gifted Utterborns, and you can see them in black aggro decks and black-red decks. It's just a fantastic card. And again, I had a game when I had to mulligan to 5, and on my hand I had only Gifted Utterborns, 3 copies of them, and 2 black mana. And I've won this game with only those Gifted Utterborns against Ramunap Red. No, excuse me, against Token Deck. Excuse me, that was a Token Deck. And I've ended up having 40-something health, which is absurd. But yeah, Gifted Utterborns really helped me get through it. It was game 3, really tough. And Gifted Utterborns is just a must-have in this type of deck. Really, maybe 2 black. Cost is big if you compare it to the other creatures, but it's definitely worth it. And even though this card just gets destroyed with a Braid or any other card, as you will see, you want some creature cards in your graveyard. But let's go down here. 3 Glorybringers. I don't have to say anything else. 3 Glorybringers in the late game, fantastic card. If you play 2 of them, that's just an insta win. Oh, your opponent cannot do anything else if you play 2 copies of Glorybringer in on the table on your battlefield. But 3 copies just for the late game, to be sure that we have those finishers ready, that we are not just a low costing creatures, nothing else, like not a fast aggro deck. Like really, the main deck, more controllish side, then with Glorybringer that has a finisher out there. Then again, we've got 2 copies of Gonti, Lord of Luxury. Because it's a legendary card, I only wanted to have 2 copies of it. And I must say, this card is doing a fantastic job. If your opponent is mana screwed, you can draw his 3 or 4 manas, and I've done it in the game. I've drawn Vraska's Contempts, Chandra Torch of Defiance out of my opponent's deck, plus the Death Touch. Even though this card easily gets killed, like, we don't care about it. Like, the main reason we have this card is to draw cards from opponent's deck. And after that, like, okay, you've done your thing, you can die. We don't care about it anymore. And you will see why it's good to have it then after that in your graveyard. Then okay, 2 Hazards the Fervent. Like, you will say, like, what? Like, you have to have 1 card in your hand. Like, what the hell? But if you're playing this deck, most of the time you have some spells like sorceries in your hand, few creatures, so it's a lot easier to just go from 5 cards to 1 card. Just similar, kind of like in Ramunap Red, not as easy, but still it's pretty damn easy, if you ask me. And really, like, I've had hands where I had 2 Hazards in my hand. I kept them and I've won a game with it, because, you know, I can still have one Hazard attack with the other. If it gets exiled, because it happens, I can just play another one, and it's great. Then 2 copies of Pioneer. Pioneer, fantastic for artifacts, because you can pump your artifacts. It was something that I've realized after testing, like, oh wow, now those artifacts, now those Topters are really great. Plus 1/1 Topter, another blocker, so you can chomp with it, or you can finish your opponent with it if you have enough mana. Then we go to Scrap Heap Scrounger. Like, it's a must-have here. Really fast card. And then we want creatures in the graveyard, so we can go and put Scrap Heap from the graveyard and exile other creatures from the graveyard. Plus, upside is, if our opponent plays a Scarab God, there's nothing in the graveyard. Like, we've exiled all of our creatures with the Scrap Heap Scrounger, and I had few games while I was testing the deck and while I was playing in the GP, when that happened. Like, opponent was like, oh I want to use this ability of Scarab God, but I can't. I'm like, yeah, sorry dude, you'll have to kill this Scrap Heap Scrounger first, and then you can bring him up. So Scrap Heap Scrounger, fantastic card, especially if you can play 2 or 3 of them at the same time, just running fantastically. And the Scorpion God. Scorpion God, maybe not the best card here, but I wanted to have like the 4th card with 5 mana cost. Plus, again, 6/5, a good finisher with his ability to put counters on our enemies' creatures. Fantastic. We can kill, for example, Topters in Temur Energy matchup and draw some more cards out of it, which is great. Okay, so those are the creatures. Now let's go to the sorceries. Bell at the Bridge. It's just great. Only 1 copy, because I only own 1 copy of it, and I didn't buy another one, but it's enough. Late game, you're low on health, you play Bell at the Bridge, let's say you've got 6 mana available, you kill a creature, you can kill even a freaking Glorybringer, you can kill those Hazards, because you're putting -1/-1 counters on it, and you still earn some life, you still earn 5 life, so come on. Very good game, very good card for late game. Then, Cut to Ribbons. Cut, fantastic to kill like those big creatures, but the way I've used cut is sometimes like in the end game or late game I've used cut on my own creatures just to get to the ribbons. So cut, good card to have in your first hand, so besides upgrades. But we're looking at this card because of ribbons, because in the late game you have like 10 mana available, so it's 8 damage to our opponent. In the late game, this can be a game finisher. Then again, 4 copies of Doomfall, fantastic card to exile those Scarab Gods, Bursting Hydras from our opponent's hand, Vraskas. And there's a cool thing about this card is that you can kill, for example, every other card on his side of the battlefield, play Doomfall, and use target opponent exiles a creature that he or she controls, and maybe it's a freaking Hydra 6/6 or whatever 7/5. You go and you exile this because, okay, you can say, oh, it has hexproof. No, hexproof doesn't work on that because there's no target creature, it's target opponent, which is great. So Doomfall by default, fantastic card. Then Duress turn 1, you just get rid of those Abrades, Lightning Strikes, so whatever is coming up. I don't need to say anything else. Then again, 2 copies of Lost Legacy. That was kind of my main issue during the GP. Like, when I've played against Mardu vehicles, I kinda was stuck with those cards. But against Timur Energy, against Ramunap Red, they were fantastic. You play Lost Legacy and you say, oh, you know what, Bristling Hydra. So our opponent don't have Bristling Hydra anymore. Ramunap Red, Earthshaking Kenra, or Ancrop Crusher. Gone. Actually, it helped me a lot against Ramunap Red when I used it on my opponent, and I've said Earthshaking Kenra, and next turn I've said Ancrop Crusher. Hey, and what other creatures do they have? Like Pianolar, maybe. Stuff like that. So, fantastic card there. And never to return, destroy target creature or planeswalker. Great, and return in the late game. You're drawing mana, you don't have anything to cast it, you don't have anything to cast, you don't have anything to spend your mana on. You have return. Then again, we go to instance. 2 failed pushes, because I only own 2. I would play 4 if I could. Only own 2 copies. And Vraska's Contempt, just a fantastic card on its own. And 1 Liliana Death Majesty Planeswalker. You'll ask, oh, what, Liliana? Come on, dude. But stay with me, okay? Stay with me. You have your Gonti in the graveyard. Liliana is just for -3 ability. So you return your target creature from your graveyard and you attack with it. Or you use their ability. So you've got Gonti in your graveyard. You go -3. You've got a Gonti in the battlefield, trigger, ability. You draw 4 more cards. Or someone's like, oh yeah, I've killed your Scorpion God. Or no, because Scorpion God goes back. But they could have countered it. So you can draw it back from the graveyard with Liliana. You have a Glorybringer in your graveyard. You're like, yeah, sure. Put it in your graveyard. Kill my Glorybringer. Oh, I dare you. Next turn, Liliana -3. Go with Glorybringer. I had games when I, on purpose, +1 Liliana for defense sake to create a 2/2 black zombie and to just put those cards from library to my graveyard. And majority of the time there was a Scorpion God, House of Red, Glorybringer, or a Gonti. And then next turn I would just go like -3. I have a Gonti for free or House of Red for free. No charge whatsoever, and I can go -3 next turn also. That was great. So then let's look at the lands. And lands, I'll tell you that Cinder Barrels, that was here only. I've put Canyon Slough, 2 Canyon Sloughs. So those red and black lands with cycling. And I had 2 Dragon Skull Summits. and then instead of 4 evolving wilds, I put 3 evolving wilds. You'll say, oh, why do you have evolving wilds? Just because they work fantastically with fail push, because that's an permanent that leaves the battlefield. So, plus sometimes you need a specific land. Like, oh man, I have mountain and a swamp and evolving wilds. Oh yeah, I can crack evolving wilds turn 1, get my black mana, and then, you know, you had those 2 black manas, 1 red. That's for that. Field of Ruin, again, that was a card that now I'm not using anymore, just because it ended up being useless. Like in the tests, it was great against Timur, because you can destroy this other Aether Hubs or dual lands. But after the GP, even though it helped me a lot, I think it's better to play another Dragon's Skull Summit or If Near Deadlands. Again, If Near Deadlands, what else to say? Land Desert, -2/-2 counters on another creature. Fantastic on its own. 5 Mountain, Ramunap Ruins, and 7 times Swamp. Okay, so I'm gonna talk now about my sideboard. So we've got 4 Abrades, 2 Bone Pickers, 1 Chandra's Defeat, 2 Fury Cannonades, Hour of Glory, Lost Legacy, Shock, Sword Point Diplomacy, and a Treasure Map. So actually I ended up not playing Treasure Map, Sword Point Diplomacy, and Bone Pickers whatsoever, even though, yeah, I never played Chandra's Defeat also. But when there were like tough matchups, when I needed to go full aggro, I've sideboarded 4 Duresses, 4 Doomfalls, and Lost Legacies, 4 Shocks, Fury Cannonade, fantastic card against token deck, 4 Abrades, just stuff like that to be more aggressive against our opponent. And I've ended up great. Like, it was really good GP. Fantastic games, fantastic people that we've met. And then I'll tell you something about a few changes, like in the main deck. So in the main deck right now, I'm running 2 Doomfalls, 2 Duresses, and no Lost Legacies. And instead of those cards, I'm playing 2 Earthshaking Kenras, 2 Uncrop Crushers, and 2 not Collective Defiance. Oh crap, I forgot the name. This instant that if you control an artifact, you deal 3 damage to a creature, 3 damage to your opponent. Oh, I forget the name, but you've got what I'm thinking. Like, it's 3 mana cost, 1 neutral, 1 red, 1 black, and that's the only change that I did to the deck to my first hand, to be more aggressive. And those Doomfalls, Duress, and Lost Legacies I've put on my sideboard instead of Treasure Map, Sword Point Diplomacy, Hour of Glory, and instead of Chandra's Defeat and Bone Pickers, because they really didn't work as good. So yeah, so that's my deck from GP 2017 GP Warsaw that I've ended up 5-4. Here you can see the mana curve, cost. You can see it here. At Ravencold Snatch Crew, I don't know what I'm doing. And I'm gonna probably upgrade it each and every time after every FNM, so you can see some changes. But there will not always be the one I'm currently playing, just to, you know, keep the element of surprise on my side, not on my opponent's side. So yes, thank you very much, guys, for watching this. I hope it kind of helped you. Oh, and by the way, you can always put here some walking ballistas, because I don't own one, but 3 walking ballistas instead of, I don't know, Dream Stealer, Scorpion God, and 1 Scrappy Scrounger would work perfectly here. So yeah, so thank you guys very much for watching this, and see you guys somewhere on stream, right? Yep, somewhere on stream. So thank you very much, guys, and see you guys on stream. Yeah.